Financial scams are more prevalent than ever, and scammers are getting craftier by the day. But don't worry, our next guest has got your back. School's first federal credit union is here to share tips to reduce your risk of becoming a victim to fraud. Let's welcome Tamara Thomas, Fruit Ridge branch manager for School's first federal credit union. Hello, Tamara.
Hello.
Okay, so we always talk about timely topics going on right now. So is it true that financial scams are really on the rise?
They really are, and it's unfortunate, but as we talk about this a lot, the digital world, the digital space is becoming so much more advanced, and unfortunately it's allowing scammers to also get trickier, sneakier. They're getting more sophisticated, and it's making them, making it easier to kind of trick us into falling victim to these scams. So hopefully we can arm ourselves with knowledge for things to look out for.
Yes, and you're here to help us do that.
That's
You're going to arm us with knowledge today. Yeah. So what are some steps our viewers can take?
I would say one of the most important things is security, making sure that we're protecting our security when we're doing anything online. One of the things that we can do is set up multi-factor authentication when we're logging into websites to really protect our information. What that does is, unless a scammer is with you, they can't log into your account if they get access to your information, because it's going to send you a code via phone, text, email, something like that. So that's a really good way to protect yourself. Another thing that I think we forget about is when we're doing anything online where we're inputting our personal information, we have to make sure we're on a secure website. You can do that by looking for the HTTPS in the URL, or looking for the little lock icon that will be in there. That tells you that that company is doing the best that they can to secure your information. And so to just be very cautious to make sure that you are in a secure website.
Especially when you're going to purchase something. Look
100%.
for that little lock.
Look for that little lock, yes. And when we talk about that, we talk about not storing your information too, like your payment information in websites, because even though it's a secure website, it's a company you trust, that doesn't mean that they can't be vulnerable to some type of breach at some point. So taking a couple of extra minutes to manually input your information
every single time. Okay, makes sense. And then once we have sensitive information protected, like you had mentioned, what else can we do?
I think we have to remember that just because we see something online and it looks good, it doesn't mean that it's real or legitimate. So we really just have to do our due diligence and do research. We really have to be cautious, especially when there's opportunities that we see online, like a job opportunity or an investment opportunity or something like that. So you really just have to make sure that you're cautious, that you're taking a step back and questioning anything that may seem like it's too good to be true. We talk about that quite often. If it's too good to, it feels too good to be true, it probably is. So really kind of trusting that feeling that you have.
Yeah, and there's definitely, I feel like, that misconception that, oh, only people who are gullible are going to get scammed by this, or who are out of touch, but they're getting more craftier and smarter with how they're scamming people. So you got to be on your toes.
Yes, we talk about AI, right? I was here, I think last month we spoke about that, and they are getting better at, copying our likeness, our voices, making storefronts look completely legitimate. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not just the gullible.
Yeah, it's everybody.
It's everybody, yes.
So what other tips do you follow to protect yourself from financial scams?
One of the things that I lean on a lot, and I think we all should, is that gut feeling we get, that intuition. If something feels kind of off, how many times have we heard, it seemed a little bit off, but it was okay and I went for it. So that's the universe's way of telling you something isn't right. So trust that gut instinct and use that to kind of guide you along the way. You know what, this seems a little off, I'm going to do extra research, take the time to do that. I think it's also important that we remind everybody that legitimate businesses, government agencies, utility companies are never going to ask you to pay them in the form of a gift card or cryptocurrency, right? They're not going to do that. Again, scammers, they kind of rely on that fear. We're going to cut off all of your electricity if you don't make this payment. And you can only do that today through a gift card. So really being careful of those things. And if anything seems wrong, it just doesn't feel right, we talk about phoning a friend, having somebody else look at it to just kind of help walk you through the process. Yeah,
like you said, that gut feeling, and if it's too good to be true, most likely it is, but do the research to find out what's real, what's not, so you're not getting scammed.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so is there anything else you want to share with our viewers?
So one thing that I think is important is if you feel like you are falling victim to a scam, or you have fallen victim to a scam, it's really important to reach out to your law enforcement. If you get them involved early enough, they may be able to recuperate some of the funds if you've lost funds. It also helps us know what scams are out there. So let your financial institution know if you've fallen victim to a scam, so we kind of know what, because it's evolving, right? They're ever evolving, and so we don't know about what scams are out there until we hear from you. So report that so that we can do things like this to say, here's things to look for.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I know sometimes when you get scammed, it's kind of like this, oh, you feel kind of ashamed of it, but it happens to everyone, and the more that we talk about it, more people will be aware of it, so they're not victim as well. Tamara, thank you for these helpful tips.
Thank you.
You bet. And to our viewers, you can visit one of the many Schools First Federal Credit Union branch locations as seen on the screen. And you can find out more online by going to schoolsfirstfcu.org.